welcome back to Labrastories, where the rules are made up and the points don't matter. Today we are learning about geologist and volcanologist Katia Krafft. A geologist is a person who studies the liquids, gases, and solids that make up planets. They work a lot with different kinds of rocks. A volcanologist or a volcanologist is a person who studies volcanoes. Volcanoes! Have you heard of them before? There are holes in the Earth's crust where pressure builds up and ash and gas and lava can erupt through these holes. Volcanoes are fascinating and they exist all over the world and even on different planets in our solar system. Katia's passion was to photograph and take videos of these volcanoes. Her and her husband, Maurice, traveled all around the world to study volcanoes. We learned so much from them. Let's go find out more. Okay, let's talk about the different types of volcanoes. There are three basic types of volcanoes. Number one, we have a composite volcano or a stratovolcano. This is probably the kind of volcano you picture when you picture a volcano. They're very tall, about 2,500 meters high, and they look like a mountain like this, and the lava erupts and bursts into big volcanic eruptions. I did a report on this kind of a volcano when I was in grade 7. Mount Fuji in Japan and Mount Vesuvius in Italy are examples of stratovolcanoes. Number two, we have cinder cone volcanoes. Now, in the picture, they might look a little bit similar, but cinder volcanoes are actually not very tall. They're only 200 meters high, and they're a bit wider than a stratovolcano, and this is their chamber all filled with volcanic ash and material, and they're just quite a bit shorter than the 2,500 meter high stratovolcanoes. Lastly, we have shield volcanoes. Shield volcanoes are wide and flat, like a shield on the ground. They look like this, and they're about 600 meters high. Strato is the tallest, cinder cones are the smallest, and shields are the widest. These are the volcanoes we have on Earth. These are different ways the volcano can form, but volcanoes can form in different areas. So we have subglacial volcanoes, which are volcanoes in ice and under deep ice. We also have submarine volcanoes, which are, you guessed it, underwater volcanoes. Even some planets in space have volcanoes. Jupiter's moon Io, Neptune's moon Triton, and Saturn's moon Enceladus all have volcanoes. Watch out, they might be erupting sometime soon. Only a few years ago, a volcano in Iceland erupted, and in 2019, a volcano in New Zealand erupted. Katia studied geology in school. Her first job as a geologist was to take gas samples from volcanoes. Her and her husband Maurice were crazy about volcanoes. They would go right up to an erupting volcano and attempt to gather gas samples and take photos and videos. This is really dangerous work, so if you live next to a volcano, I would not recommend going to take gas samples from it. At least without parental supervision. Katia photographed the eruptions and Maurice took the videos. They would study ash, lava rock, and even acid rain that was caused by volcanoes. They would take boats onto lakes while it was acid raining to study it. That sounds really dangerous. Wouldn't it just eat up your boat? Wait, how does a volcano cause acid rain? I have a lot of questions. You know what I think it's time for? A beaker break. Pipette! Hi, Pipette!
Hello, Jenna. How are you doing today?
I'm doing so well. How are you doing?
Oh, I am doing superb.
That's amazing to hear. Today we are learning about Katia Krafft.
Yes, the geologist and volcanologist. Jenna, that can be a dangerous job.
That's what I'm learning as we go, that it can be a very dangerous job. In fact, I'm learning that when volcanoes erupt, it emits a lot of gas into the atmosphere, and this can cause acid rain.
Absolutely. So, a lot of chemistry happens when a volcano erupts.
Okay.
And when it does erupt, a gas called sulfur dioxide gets released and causes that acid rain.
Oh no, that sounds really dangerous.
Oh, so dangerous. Katia must have really loved volcanoes to get that close to something that dangerous. Have you learned about how volcanoes work?
Yeah, I know all about the Earth's crust, and what else is there?
Molten core.
The molten core and magma. Actually, you know what, Pipette? I'm gonna take over from here and educate everyone about those things.
Oh, go for it. I'm so proud of you.
And you know what we're doing later, Pipette? We're gonna make our own volcano erupt.
That's my favorite. A classic science experiment.
I can't wait till then. But first we have some things to learn. Thanks so much for this information, Pipette.
Of course, Jenna.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, we know what a volcano is, and we know that there are many different kinds of volcanoes, but why do volcanoes erupt? To learn about this, we really need to understand the Earth's surface and layers. So let's go learn that. This is a cross-section of the planet Earth. A cross-section means I've taken out a part of it so we can see inside. So here we have all the water and oceans and the land masses that make up our planet. Right in the middle here, we have the core of the Earth. The core makes up about 15% of the Earth's volume. It's very, very, very hot magma right at the core. It can get up to about 6,000 degrees Celsius. That's extremely hot. After the core, we have the mantle. We have an upper mantle and a lower mantle. The mantle occupies about 84% of the Earth's volume, so that's quite a bit. So we have 15% of the core, 84% in the mantle. And the mantle is an almost solid-like material, also very hot. We would not want to go swimming in these places. And on the outer edge, 1% of the Earth's volume, that's what's left when you take 84 and 15, we have the Earth's crust. Now this is what you're walking on when you walk outside. You're walking right on the Earth's crust. Volcanoes form when pieces of the Earth's crust, so tectonic plates, crash into each other, open up, and erupt up. This is the cross-section of a volcano. We have the magma chamber in the Earth's crust, the conduit, or you can think of this like a pipe or a channel where the lava comes up. We have side vents, the main vent, which we call a crater, and different lava flows that come from these vents. A sill is where the lava flows to but doesn't quite break through the mountain of the volcano. And we have an ash cloud at the top with our different chemicals that we talked about. Sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, and water. And this is what can create the acid rain. And we have ash fall. So what happens when this volcano erupts? Well, first, the molten rock gets really, really, really hot. The molten rock is where this magma is. This molten rock or magma rises to the surface of the Earth's crust, forcing the Earth's mantle to melt. So we covered the Earth's mantle. That's the second layer in the Earth. That's almost solid. When that melts, the Earth's mantle is melting and it's getting so hot, this magma chamber, and pressure is building up from these tectonic plates, which are just huge pieces of land and rock plates. They push against each other and they start bubbling up. They start bubbling, and then finally this volcano is formed and it presses together to make a mountain. A conduit or pipe is formed and it bursts up, and the magma erupts and bubbles and bubbles and bubbles until it cannot handle it anymore, and the pressure builds and it escapes in thick and heavy gas and lava and bubbles. And when this pressure can't take it anymore, that's when it erupts. Some volcanoes take hundreds of years to erupt, and some erupt many times. This volcano is in the middle of erupting, so I would steer clear. But Katia and Maurice, I bet, would be right here taking photographs. I've brought Pipette back before we get into the most exciting part. Guess what's gonna happen, Pipette?
What? Tell me.
We're gonna do our experiment! So you know what I thought we could go over before the experiment?
Tell me.
Some experiment safety.
So smart. Safety first, everyone.
Safety first. So in this volcano, in our experiment, we're gonna cause a big eruption. So what would be some useful things to have on hand?
Oh, well, a parent for one.
A parent for one. Even goggles if you have to be really close to your experiment.
Absolutely. And something to clean up that big mess.
Exactly.
Or you might get in trouble.
Exactly. We're going to need to clear a lot of space for the experiment as it makes quite a big eruption. But you know what? You should watch me do it first before you do it.
Great idea.
Exactly. And then you know what's going to happen with yours. Okay, ready, Pipette? It's experiment time.
Oh, get behind the camera and film everything.
See you later. Before we conduct our volcano experiment, we need to build a volcano. All you really need is a pop bottle. This is a 1 liter pop bottle. You can do it with a 2 liter one or a smaller one, whichever you want. That's what you really need. But if you want to be creative, I challenge you to build a volcano around your bottle. Let's go! So I just built my volcano out of my pop bottle, newspaper, and tin foil. I would encourage you to use recycled materials like old papers or old notebooks you have around. I'm going to recover this tin foil after and use it for some baked potatoes. Now to make the volcano erupt. This is where our science experiment really begins. We're going to need some materials to create this chemical reaction. First, we're going to need 400 milliliters of vinegar. These measurements aren't exact because any combination of these compounds will make the eruption, but for this experiment, I'm using 400 milliliters of vinegar, 100 milliliters of cold water, 5 to 10 milliliters of dish soap, I just estimated this, and some food coloring for whatever color you want your volcano to be. Also, we need to make a special sludge mixture. Now this is half a cup of baking soda and half a cup of water. This is the magic stuff that's really going to make it erupt. First, we need a funnel. Take your funnel and place it in the bottle in your volcano. Into your volcano, you're going to pour your vinegar. So remember, you have a pop bottle in there, so you have a lot of room for materials, even though it feels funny sort of to pour liquid into a random hole that I just made. Next, we're gonna pour in the 100 milliliters of cold water. And then we're gonna pour in the dish soap. Dish soap is quite thick. It's a little bit viscous, just like lava is sometimes. And any food coloring you want. I'm gonna do the classic red because we're gonna want some lava in there. Have towels on standby for this eruption. Now, this is the first time I've done this eruption today, so I'm not sure how it's going to go, but that's how experiments work. Sometimes we don't know what the result is going to be, and we just kind of go with it. We can always try it again after. Okay, so what I'm going to do is pour this sludge mixture, which is half baking soda, half water, into the volcano, and we're going to watch it erupt. Remember, Katia would be standing on this volcano with her camera and her video, taking pictures and videos and taking samples of everything. Highly dangerous work. Ready? Here we go. volcano erupted. What did yours look like? Look at the red and the food coloring. It's still oozing out. The reaction is still happening, and I didn't even get all of my mixture into the volcano. That was awesome. Look at these lava flows coming down the volcano and how they pick different routes as they go. A normal volcano would bubble for a long time, just like this one is. That was really awesome. I can't wait to see what yours looked like. I'm going to keep this flowing so I can study the flows just like Katia did. Now that you know how volcanoes work, you know that they can be really dangerous and scary things, but also really beautiful and magical. Maurice and Katia would be right on the volcano, taking pictures and videos. Unfortunately, one time they were on a volcano and they mispredicted how a lava flow would go, and they died in the lava flow. I debated with myself whether I should tell you that they died on a volcano, but I think it's important to know, and I wouldn't want to lie to you. So be careful doing what you love, especially if it's something really dangerous. You know what? I think it's time for a laugh break, so let's pass it over to Funny Bones for some laughs.
With some explosive jokes. Let's blast off. Why didn't the volcano have any money? It was bank erupt. Pah! What does the baby volcano say to his mom? Meg mama. Pah! What did the volcano say to its partner? I love you. What do you get when you cross a volcano with a light bulb? A lava lamp!
Oh man, Funny Bones always cheers me up. He's so hilarious. Thanks for sticking around today and learning about Katia Krafft and volcanoes. I loved making that volcano. It reminds me of the volcano I made when I was in grade 6. You know what? I challenge you to go outside in the snow and build a volcano. You can do the exact same kind of chemical reaction we did in the snow, and you'll get a subglacial volcano. And you can add food coloring and see where the lava flows go in the snow. You can make a lot of volcanoes or one huge volcano, whatever you want. Thank you so much for learning with me today. It really brightens my week and I appreciate it so much. You are doing amazing. Have a wonderful day. Bye.